Hello, I'm back. I'm back from my 1 month excursion. I'm back from my month-long break. At this point, it's been like a month and a half because it's been like a week since I came back. It's been 11 days since I got back from my summer camp, and I've only just now decided to record a vlog. Um, Mainly because I've just been relaxing and I've been dealing with some stuff, trying to find a job, and I've just been basically like procrastinating on making this vlog because I knew that it was going to be a long one. So might as well get it over with right now. All right. So I've been gone, and I'd say it's been a pretty good time. The summer camp, uh it's a 5 week. I was supposed to be there for only 3 weeks, right? But I ended up choosing to stay for the full 5 weeks because I liked it so much, and because I liked all the friends that I made there. I liked talking to people. I had a crush on this one guy, and so I wanted to stay longer just so I could talk to him longer, blah blah blah, me being a little goofball. So but let's start with the first week that I got there. Let's start with day one, actually. Day one, it's July 3rd. I arrive, and the first person I meet is not, it was one of senior staff. I'll call them H. And she was so friendly, so amazing. That was the very first person I met. And honestly, the very first day that I was there, I was pretty nervous. I had no idea what I was doing, no idea where I was going. And because of that, I still had no idea like what program I was in, what I was doing, because I thought I was in Scout Field, which I was. I was doing the Brownsley program, but I didn't know that at the time because I just was I was told to bring stuff for Scout Field, which is much broader. So I was like, okay, I'm in Scout Field, but I don't know what program. But then the one of senior staff, who I'll call K, who is the director of everything, she was like, oh, you're going to be staying in this section, which is Cub Field, which is the little kids area. And so I was like, oh, I thought I was doing Scout Field, but I guess I'm doing Cub Field. But turns out I misinterpreted that, and it was just I was sleeping in the Cub area, but my program was still the Scout Field. But keep in mind, this is pre kids arriving, so there was no kids yet. At least I don't think there were. And it was just like training. So that was temporary. I eventually switched into the proper location, but I didn't know that day one. So I was very confused. And because of my confusion, I ended up going with the Cubfield program people instead of the Scoutfield program people. And so I ended up missing out on the ropes training session, which I really regret because I really wanted to go to that and I missed it. But it's whatever. So I guess the good thing was, because I went to the Cubfield area first for my training instead of what I was supposed to go to, I ended up meeting a very, very cool friend who I'll call L. And he's the GOAT, the king, for real. First person I met that I was like, immediately like, I'm going to be friends with this person. Like, this person is awesome. Obviously I didn't really talk to them that much at the time because I was still very new to everyone and everything. So I was very shy, but I was like, that person's kind of cool. And then what else do I remember? Day one, I just remember fumbling about, not really knowing what to do, and I had like no clue what was going on. And then, oh man, that first night sleeping in the cabin, oh man, that was rough. so hot, buggy, and yeah, I wasn't used to that. So it was a rough night. And I slept with someone from kitchen staff who snored really loud. So there was that as well. But what can you do? So anyways, continuing with this week, or technically this isn't even week 1. This is still pre-camp. I'll start with pre-camp first. Pre-camp, I don't remember much other than losing my phone at one point and just not being able to find it for like a good 2 days. But then I eventually found it and it was in one of my bags and I was like so super stupid, but it's whatever. Found it. And yeah, I guess pre-camp I wasn't really doing much, not gonna lie. I was just kind of like idling about. I honestly don't remember much because I was probably just like a nervous wreck and just like standing around not doing much, because I genuinely don't remember much other than like those 2 months. Oh, I remember we were doing polyatics, which is like you get to know other people. I really enjoyed that. I had this one person in my group called Z. If you know, you know. But this person just would not stop talking. And like you're supposed to like take turns answering questions in the group thing. But this person would just talk for way too long and not give the rest of the group time to answer their questions or give the answer to the question. And that was my first time encountering this person. And I'll get to encounter them many more times later on. But yeah, I enjoyed that though. And it was really fun getting to, understand the staff before, the kids came. And it gave us some time to, get in the rhythm of things, which I would most certainly need for that first week. Because, oh boy, week 1, it was rough. It was super, super duper tough and rough. It was difficult because A, I was very new. B, week 1 has by far the most kids. So there were a bunch of kids. And C, they were gnarly, dude. A lot of the kids, week 1, were just super difficult to work with. So I was doing Brown C, which is ages 10 to 12. And like we had 23 kids on the first day. And like there were some pretty big troublemakers, I'll say, in that first week, because there was like a lot of stuff going on, a lot of rude, a lot of fighting, just a lot of bad behavior, a lot of bad apples in that group. And what I love about the program that I was in is that we go on this out trip where we go canoeing to like an island, and then you are supposed to like camp overnight there, then go to another place, camp overnight there, and then you do a hike where you do rock climbing, and then you go back to main camp. But on this first week, because of the bad weather, we went straight to it was called Tsunami. So we went straight to Tsunami, which is the place we were supposed to go on the second day, but we chose to go there day 1, which I guess was a good thing because we didn't have to travel as far. Because on that day, like, it was super bad. Like, there was some super serious stuff going on that I probably shouldn't talk about, because we had to be evacuated from that island. Not because of the weather or anything, but just because one of the kids was doing something really serious and not appropriate for camp, and they had to be, removed. So we had to deal with that, and we had to all get evacuated because of that, which was not fun, especially when it was late at night. You had to go into each of the tents and waking the kids up. I was like straight up flashing my flashlight in the eyes of this one kid, and he just would not wake up. I was like, hey, wake up, like, you have to go. And these kids, like, they just wouldn't wake up. It was crazy. And like, just that first week was a mess. There's like a kid that almost went missing in another program group, and we had to sleep in the dining hall. It was a whole ordeal. But I think I handled it pretty well. I'm not the type of person to like freak out very often, so I was like pretty chill about it all. I was just like vibing. It was my first week. I had no idea what to expect. I definitely didn't expect that, but I was like, oh, I guess maybe this is just the way things go around here, which it was not. It's not supposed to be like that every week. So it was an outlier of a week for sure. But I mean, it still made for an interesting experience. Let's just say that. I miss. There was this one moment where it was just me and one other staff member, and we were the only two left on Tsunami. And we were me and this other staff member were the last to get evacuated off this site, and it was just me and him, just like chatting, looking at the stars, getting eaten alive by bugs. And that motorboat ride back, oh man, was it so good. It was so good. And it was like, oh my gosh, the breeze. And I don't know, something about that was just really special, kind of, because I was like, wow, I really didn't expect this to happen this way. I didn't expect things to go this way, but I mean, at least we made the best of it. We tried our best. We did everything we could. And also, I haven't mentioned this, but sorry for the background switch. Just all of a sudden, I'm in the basement right now just because the Wi-Fi is better and it's quieter down here. So that's why background is different. That's why I'm not in my room. LOL. Sorry. Anyways, week 1, atrocious. Very difficult. It was my first weeks in the cabins. We call them the tent cabins because they're very breathable. Like, they have a lot of windows and stuff, but they still, are very hot, and they can be very hot, and they don't really, protect from bugs that well. So getting used to sleeping in those was definitely rough at first, especially because week 1 was really hot as well, so I was sweating like crazy. Excuse me. But yeah, it was just, it was rough. That's all I can remember. Week 2. I'll say week 2 went a bit better. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying not to get the weeks mixed up. Because week 2 and week 3 were pretty similar. It was just like some stuff going on between kids. Right, week 2, we had less kids, 18 I believe, 19 or 18 I think on that week. Oh no, I think we had like 21. We had less than week 1, that's all I remember. And I'd say they were a bit better. We still had, some shenanigans going on, but nowhere near as badly as week 1. No one had to get removed because of bad behavior. I mean, there was definitely bad behavior, for sure, but it wasn't as bad as week 1, which was fantastic. I'm trying to remember if this was the week where someone got punched in the eye. That might have been week 3, but it could have also been this week. I can't quite remember though. I'm thinking that happened on week 3, but I can't quite remember. Basically, oh no, it was this week. Okay, week 2, we had 2 kids leave because of injuries. One kid left because he kept cutting himself with a knife by accident, because he wasn't whittling properly. And so we were like, okay, you lose your knife privileges because you don't know how to properly use a knife for whittling, for like sharpening a stick. But eventually he had to like leave because of those injuries, but then he came back. So I don't really know what was going on there, but he was like a chill kid. He was pretty funny. But he did kind of like, he wasn't really liked a lot by the other kids, which is kind of sad because he was genuinely funny. He just wasn't the most safe. And then there was some other kid that got like punched in the eye intentionally because he took rope from some other kid and he got toothpaste sprayed at him. It was a whole ordeal. I wasn't there to witness it, but I was there for the aftermath. And I'm like, what the heck? Why are y'all fighting? Camp stuff, I guess. But yeah, these kids were kind of troublesome sometimes. And I hope to not make this like I don't want to be like stereotypical or whatever or prejudiced, but I found that the kids with ADHD usually, I'm not saying that this is true for all kids with ADHD, but I found that usually the ones with ADHD were the ones that were acting out more often than the ones who didn't. Like, a lot of the times it was the kids with ADHD that were being like very obtrusive, disrupting sessions, arguing, stuff like that. I'm not saying that's true for all of them, but usually I found that the ones with ADHD were the ones that were, tougher to work with. But obviously for someone like me, it's no problem. I love to take up any challenges, and I can deal with any kid, but it's definitely nice to have some people there to help out. Where am I going with this? I don't know. Anyways, week 3 was pretty bueno. That week, the only main issues we had were kids who were like homesick, who just wanted to go home. The rest of them were pretty chill, pretty sweet. Oh, and I should say week 2 and week 3, we actually did go to the island that we were supposed to go to. Well, not actually. Hold on. Let me rephrase that. Week 2 and week 3, we went to an island that was an alternate option to the actual place we were supposed to go to. But at that point, it was like, because of weather and stuff, we never ended up going to like the trailer park, it was called. And I was really wanting to go to the trailer park because it's like apparently really cool and stuff, but we never got to go there because of weather, or because like they just wouldn't let us go there anymore because we didn't go there in weeks 1 and 2 because of weather. So it's like, okay, well, screw you then. So we never ended up going to trailer park, which I'm so sad. But Big Island, which is the other site that we go to day 1, was still very good as well, and just very amazing, very beautiful. The sunset is gorgeous. Our tents are like right next to the water, and like it's just overall an amazing campsite. No, like very little mosquitoes and stuff, so that's really nice. So yeah, week 3 was pretty chill. That was also the week where I think I got my my progress evaluated on like how I was doing and stuff. Like my eval, I guess you could call it. And they were like, you're doing a pretty good job, Daniel. Like, you are, always willing to help out whenever necessary, but our feedback for you is like, take more initiative. And I was like, okay, fair. And keep in mind, I was wearing a clown costume during this because it was during carnival night, where the theme was fairy tale, and I only had a clown costume, so I was doing the eval while wearing a clown costume, which was pretty funny. I will say, carnival night, so good. I loved carnival night. Every week there's like a theme for carnival night, so you'd wear a certain costume. So weeks 1 and 3 were fairy tale, weeks 2 and 4 were Olympics, and then week 5 was 80s. So for fairy tale, I brought a clown costume because apparently there's Punchinella the Clown. That's the fairy tale. No one knows it, but I researched it. And because I only had a clown costume, I had to make it work. But people like that clown costume, so I pulled it off. Week 2, I borrowed a costume from a guy that I had a crush on. Well, he willingly lent it to me. And it was just like a basic like Canadian tank top with like a medal for some award I forget. But yeah, I didn't really have a costume for Olympics other than like sportswear, so I'm glad I got that costume just for that 1 week. And yeah, that guy that I had a crush on, I found out that he was straight, but I still was like, please, like I was getting like so many signs from this guy that like he had a crush on me, or like we would like, I don't know if I was just like reading into it too much, but I swear this guy had like, I'm guessing he was just overly friendly because like apparently I'm nice or whatever, but like I swear there were some moments where he would be like flirting with me and I was like, oh my gosh, just say you like me. But apparently he's straight. He said it to my face. He's straight. And I'm just like, bro, you literally said I had beautiful eyes at one point. And then he was like, it's just a compliment. And I'm like, bro, okay. And then like lent me his costume, for carnival night. He like during one of our it's called electives, where kids can choose an activity to do. We were doing the quiet games elective, where you just play some like board games and stuff, and we were doing a puzzle, and he like rubbed his hand on mine as he was going to get a puzzle piece, and I swear he did it intentionally. Like there's no way he would like by accident slowly go like this before picking up a puzzle piece. And I was like, okay, that wasn't a sign apparently. That was like, I don't know, bromesexual. I don't know. Like I swear I'm going crazy. Like he says he's straight, then he did so many things that made me think that he was into me. Like he'd always like stare into my eyes, just like he'd always say hi to me, give me hugs. One time he gave me a hug while he was shirtless after he got thrown into the lake. And then he would like, at one point he like picked me up and would like hug me like this and like swing me around. And I'm like, okay, so I guess we're just good friends then. Even though we didn't really like talk to each other that often. And then like he would let me like massage his back. Like there were two times where I massaged his back, and he was like receptive to both of them. And I'm just like, okay, I guess, yeah, sure. He painted my nails. He gave me a little smiley face on one of my toenails, which I still have right now. And I'm just like, so you're telling me none of that meant anything? Anyways, enough about this guy. He's straight. I need to move on. I did get into his DMs though, just for some friendly banter. But it didn't go very far. So anyways, continuing on, week 4, I all of a sudden switched programs to the little kids. They were called the Beavers, which is like ages like 6 and 7, I'm pretty sure, like around that age. And it was a nice change of pace. I definitely liked being in an air-conditioned room. That was a very nice change of pace. But the kids, I'd say they were even worse, man. The little kids are so much harder to work with because you have to constantly remind them, bring your water bottle, sunscreen, a hat, and you have to like keep, like that week they had like so many beavers. They had like 17 or something. It was crazy. And you have to like tell them to basically do everything. You have to do everything for them, right? They're not independent. So it's like a lot harder. It is nice that you gotta go to bed earlier. They go to bed at like 9, so you can either stay up for a bit longer or you can go to bed early, which is nice. That's a good benefit as well, in addition to the air conditioned rooms, plus the chargers, so you can charge your phone in your room. You don't have to go to the lodge, where like the staff lodge, where like it's like super far away from the Brownsea field that I was in, so it's like a lot more convenient to just have a charger in your room, which is nice. But yeah, those kids are a lot harder to work with, I'd say, just because you have to keep track of so much stuff, and not to mention bed checking to see if they, like urinated or anything. The smell sometimes was pretty bad as well. So yeah, props to the people who did that program for like almost all 5 weeks. Props to them, honestly. So yeah, but it was good just to try it for a week. It's not like I had a choice. I was forced to do it, but I mean, I didn't mind it. You didn't go on an out trip. You don't go camping. You just did some like hot dogs over a campfire with like, and you had these like little pedal boats where you would like pedal. You didn't have a proper canoe or anything. But I mean, it was pretty chillax. I didn't mind it, actually. Other than the kids, of course. The kids were pretty nightmarish. Some of them were really sweet, but I mean, there were also just some kids. Especially there was this one. Okay, I forgot to mention that it switches like in the middle of the week. So there's actually 2 groups of kids. In the first half of the week, you have the beavers, which are like ages 6 to 7, I think. And then the second half of the week, you have the tender pads, which are slightly older. That second half batch of kids, there's this one kid who is autistic, and oh man, I feel for those parents, because that kid was, I mean, it's not his fault that he didn't like the camp, but he would constantly have temper tantrums, like, over the smallest things, and it was just really difficult to deal with. We did eventually work through it, and, like, it's not that it's, like, annoying to me. Like, honestly, like, whenever he would cry or have a temper tantrum, I'd just be like, okay, and like I'm the type of person that just doesn't give a shit about literally anything, so I'm just like, okay, whatever, that's cool, I guess. But obviously it's my responsibility to take care of the kids that I'm looking after, so I'm just like, okay, just like try my best to help out with the situation as best as I can, and to do the best strategy, which is usually to just ignore the behavior. So like if he's crying, then the best thing you can do is just ignore him, but then it looks like we're not doing our jobs, so that's not too great. But what can you do when a kid doesn't want to drink water? It's like, or like getting frustrated because you can't go into the water right now because it opens in 5 minutes. Like, please just wait 5 minutes, man. So it's very difficult sometimes. But it's my job. So, well, I was a volunteer. What am I kidding? I wasn't getting paid. But it's still my responsibility. But yeah, it was fine. I mean, it was definitely memorable, if I could remember it right now. And I also want to tell a story. So literally every single week, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right, it would rain like crazy, and we had the worst luck. Like literally every time we would go on our out trip, it would always rain, and like it would be like pouring rain, like thunder, torrential downpour, like just just no bueno, like very, very despicable. And I believe it was the second week, we didn't have time to set up our tents. And so it started raining when we got to Tsunami. And it was me, two other staff members for Brown Sea, and then 2 lifeguards who were there to deliver some stuff, I'm pretty sure. And we were just all huddled under a tree while it was pouring rain. Obviously, we're still getting soaked. And it was just like, hey, like, we were just like under there for like a good like couple minutes, like 10 minutes, it felt. I eventually pulled my towel out to try and cover 3 of us because 2 of them left early to like help with the fire or something, or they had to leave. I think it was, the lifeguards had to leave early because they just wanted out of there, right? They didn't want to stay any longer, so they left. But then the rest of us who had to stay there, we huddled under my towel, which was getting soaked. And then it was me and one other person, who we'll call S. Me and S, who looked very similar. I would often get called S's name, because apparently I'm similar looking with like brown hair and glasses and stuff. So me and him, we decided the best course of action would be to hide in the porta potty until the rain ended. And keep in mind, this guy was shirtless because he didn't want to get his shirt wet. So it was me and a shirtless S in a porta potty, and it stinks, and we're in there for like 10 minutes, just like shivering, and it's like pouring rain outside, and oh man, that was not fun. But we did get through it eventually. We eventually got a fire going, got to dry some of my clothing, but most of it was still pretty darn soaked. And yeah, that was fun. That was a very memorable moment of mine. And it was very funny too, like the whole situation. And so basically, continuing on where I left off, week 4. Week 4, I'd say, was pretty good. At this point, I was very into reading storytime books, or there's an elective we had called Storytime, and I would love reading the books out loud to the kids. It was so fun. I love doing little voices, and people said I had a really good voice for reading out loud, and that it was like very pleasant and stuff, and very calming and soothing. And that made me really confident in my abilities, and I'm like I really want to do like audiobook narration or something, or like just reading out loud somehow and getting paid for it, because apparently I have a really good voice and I really want to do that. So I'm considering starting with volunteer work just for practice. But the only thing that's like really preventing me from going forward with that plan is this microphone. It isn't the greatest. It's a pretty cheap microphone, and I want like a professional microphone before I start, because I'm probably not going to get that many bookings if I have a bad microphone. But anyways, people said I had a really good voice for story time, and I'm really pleased by that, because I really like reading out loud, and that's something I found out because of camp. And so yeah. What else? We also had like these awards that were given out at the end of every week, and for staff members for like what they did and their contributions and stuff. And I actually won one on the last week, which I'm really happy about. And I also got a sunshine thing, which basically every morning for flag, which is like when we like raise the flag, or not raise the flag, but it like unraveling the flag. And every morning one of the staff members gives out a sunshine award and a yuck award, which are like, they don't really mean anything, like they're just like for fun, but I got one on the last week, which made me really happy. And it was for being the GOAT. And so I still remember that. And yeah, just the whole vibe at camp, something about it just really stuck with me. I really like the routine because I'm really bad with routine. And so having that consistency every day was really nice. I also got these bracelets from my friends, from Elle, made these two. This green one in the middle and then this one at the bottom. And then another staff member, who I'll call E.T., made this one for me. And they're really cool. And I want to keep them on forever. Or for as long as I can. I also have my nails painted, but I have to get them removed tomorrow because I have a job interview tomorrow for a tutoring place. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Hopefully I get it. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. In the last week, it was a lot more chill because we had way less kids. We only had like we only had 7 kids. I'm pretty sure 7 or 8, 7 kids in the last week. And our staff team that week was so good. It was me, Z, who I mentioned earlier. But honestly, they were pretty cool. They were chill. Overall, I'd say they were pretty cool. It's just sometimes he would talk way too much or say stuff that was like unnecessary. And like, but that's like, whatever, you know? Like, I'm not taking it to heart or anything whenever I get criticized by her, but it's like whatever. Overall, they were really good. Like, as a staff member, they were pretty chill for the most part. Sometimes they would be like, you can't say the Lord's name in vain whenever a kid said Jesus, or stuff like that. But it's whatever, you know? That's my motto. Whatever. Like, who cares? And we also had, we had EM, I'll call her EM. We had EM and then C. You know who you are. You're probably watching this. C, you're the GOAT. Honestly, you were so good as team member, or not team member, what am I saying? Head, whatever it's called, as a head of our program. You were so good, and honestly, our out trip was so darn, it went so smoothly. It was by far the best out trip I've ever had out of all the weeks, and it was just so relaxing. We had the hammocks set up, and like, trip to Big Island went amazing. The food was so good, and it was just overall an amazing time. And I got to talk to you a lot, which was really nice. And I just had such a good time in that last week. It made me realize like how grateful I am to be at that camp and talk to all the people. And I really flourished that last week, I think, in my opinion. Like, I was like vibing. I was more so myself that week, I'd say. And that's when I really started, like, getting out of my shell. And so it makes sense that I got the award that week. Made me really, feel better about myself. Made me feel like, hey, like, I'm actually kind of doing stuff here at camp. I'm actually being kind of useful. And so that was really nice. That was very pleasant. And yeah. So that covers very briefly. I know I'm 40 minutes into this vlog, but that covers very briefly what happened at my 5 weeks there at camp. There was still a lot I didn't cover, but it was overall like such an amazing time. That we definitely had some bumps, some bruises, some cuts, some scrapes. It wasn't, perfectly fine the whole time, but I'd say it was a very worthy experience. It was very worthwhile, and I'd say the most important part was the friends I made along the way. And, it's all about the journey, not the destination. So the just the whole journey, getting to experience the camp, appreciating the nature, and just not being glued to a screen all day, that was really beneficial for me, I'd say, and very good for my mental health. So that about covers everything from summer camp. But, it's kind of been about over a week since I actually got back from camp. And some stuff has happened as well, which I'm going to mention. Obviously, I mentioned that tomorrow I have a job interview. I'm excited for that. But I've also ended things, finally, with C, my friend. Not the one from summer camp, the other one that I was mentioning in my previous vlogs. He, out of my life. He's not in my life anymore because he was kind of being annoying and just kind of like, I saw no reason to be friends with him anymore, and he was bringing more woe into my life. I think that's the proper word, I hope. Just not it, There were a lot of red flags that I should have noticed early on, and I just chose to ignore them. But now I'm just like, there's no point in keeping this person around. I'm not going to be guilt tripped anymore and just staying with this person just because I feel bad. I was just like, you know what? Get out of here. Like, you're going to guilt trip me into staying by buying me gifts? Like, no thank you. I don't want your gifts. And, like, I don't really care. Like, it was just not it, It was not it. It was not going to happen. I was never going to be in a relationship with that guy. It was not going to go there. And so I was like, if I'm not having fun talking to this person, if this person isn't, bringing me joy in my life, then why stick around? So I was just like, you know what? Boom, blocked on all platforms. And I was just like, bitch, you deserve that. After all the freaking shit, annoying shit you said, and all like the arguments we had and whatever, it was just not it. You know what I mean? Like, I could go on and on about what this person did that made me feel like crap, but I'm not going to go too into depth about that, so I'm just going to leave it there. But basically, I ended things with this person, and I feel much better now. And I also uninstalled Grindr because I do not need that app, because it was honestly way too addicting and really just not useful for anything. I was just like scrolling on it for no reason, and it was distracting me, and there's no benefit to having it from the experiences that I've had. So honestly, I think I'm doing much better now because I've chosen to ignore all the distractions in my life and trying to focus on the stuff that actually matters, such as this job interview that I have tomorrow, and my personal health, such as my physical health and my mental health. And that's what I learned from camp. Take care of yourself. Honestly, you can't care for others if you can't care for yourself. And that's a very good ideology to follow, because if like I'm super tired and stressed, then how am I going to be able to look after like 20 kids? You know what I mean? So it's like, take the breaks if you need them, honestly. But with that said, don't be lazy. Like, still do work and stuff, but obviously don't overwork yourself. Everyone's different, but you know your limits. So don't go past your limits, is what I'm trying to say. Future P. And yeah, honestly, I thought this vlog would go on a lot longer, but it's only been like 45 minutes. I thought it would go to like an hour. Because I generally don't really have much to talk about anymore. I guess I could go into about the more nitty-gritties about camp, but I want to leave those for myself because those are very special. But I will say, just as a closing statement, I had a wonderful time at camp. I loved all the friends I made. All the people I got to talk to were amazing. And it was, even though I wasn't getting paid, I still had a great time. And I know it might be crazy for choosing to stay the full 5 weeks, even though I wasn't getting paid. But what I did get out of it was a good learning experience, a lot of friends, and a lot of experience as well. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm going to miss all of the friends that I made there. But I'm definitely going to come back next year. Hopefully paid. And hopefully I'll get to see them all again next year. So yeah, I'll end it there. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Sorry this vlog took so long. I was so lazy. I procrastinated way too long. But I'm back. Vlogs are gonna return to a daily. Okay? I'll see you all tomorrow. And I'll let you know how my interview goes. Oh my gosh. Bye-bye.